Are you looking to take the next step toward investing in commercial real estate but don't know where to go? CRE Central offers a comprehensive education and coaching platform designed to help you get started. Our online courses cover a wide range of topics, from the fundamentals to advanced strategies, ensuring you have the knowledge and skills needed to thrive in this competitive industry. As a member, you'll gain access to our exclusive online community and monthly group coaching calls, providing you with valuable networking opportunities and personalized guidance from experienced professionals. Whether you're a beginner or looking to take your career to the next level, CRE Central has the resources you need. Visit www.crecentral.com to learn more. Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Investor Podcast, live from the Cobble Group Studios here in Nashville, Tennessee, as always. Today, we are back for another episode of Office Hours. If you have questions about commercial real estate and you would like for me to answer them, jump in live on YouTube. Tuesdays at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Happy to dive into those. We also give you updates on what I've been up to the past week. And I have something new for you all today. We're going to do something that I am calling like Quick Tip Tuesday. I don't know. If you guys like it, we'll keep it up. But I study commercial real estate quite a bit. I study the market. I study the business of commercial real estate. And I figured, you know what? Why don't I start doing some mini presentations in these office hours? So let's go ahead and take a look at what I've got for you today. It's something that I wanted to put together to help you guys really reframe your minds around the evolution of office space, considering what has happened in that market over the past few years. So first, I want to talk about mail delivery. That market has changed and evolved significantly over the years. It started off by horse, then it moved to car, then it moved to plane, and now for the most part, we're sending mail over email. Just because the way that it has been utilized and delivered doesn't mean that mail has necessarily changed. We're still sending messages to each other. It's just different now than it used to be back then. Office space has undergone a very similar shift. We used to have much more traditional office spaces. It hadn't really changed for decades, which if you think about how quickly everything else in our lives, I mean, look at the iPhone. Look at how much this thing has changed in the last 10 years. Office hadn't really done that for quite some time, so it's just playing catch up. We moved from traditional office space to more open floor plans back in 2008. A lot of companies in the great financial crisis were trying to figure out how they could make their rent more affordable per employee. So they just started packing more employees into these open floor plans. Then we moved towards a pretty heavy co-working shift and some work from home. And now we're kind of waiting for what the next iteration of office space is going to be. Office space is going to change. That's for sure. It's different than it was. We're not going back. You're not putting that genie back in the bottle. But I want you to remember as well that retail was dead too. We had big box stores. Then there was a massive shift to online, and everybody said retail is dead. Nobody's going to be shopping in person anymore, and that's not true. Retail shifted to more experiential services, and now retail is as popular as ever. Who knows what's going to come next there? So just wanted to give you all my thoughts real quick. If you like the Quick Tip Tuesday, let me know in the comments, and I'll keep these coming. I've got lots of really cool, interesting ideas I'd be happy to share with all of you. This past week has been a good week. I am finalizing my apprentice search for Peerless Mill. We had 21 applicants. I reached out to 17 of them, and we are narrowing it down to 2 to 3 for final interviews next week. Really excited to get that going. Had some absolutely amazing people apply. It's going to be a very hard decision for me to make, but appreciate everybody spending the time reaching out and putting the effort into it, because I didn't make it an easy process. So everybody that did end up applying, pretty high quality. I am also hiring for an office manager and an integrator for the business. If you want to come work for us as an office manager, you'll be working with me pretty much all day, because I need a lot of help. You'll essentially be my assistant, helping me run the office on a day-to-day basis, doing a bunch of YouTube stuff, a bunch of brokerage, property management. You'll get a wide variety of experience. Go to tylercobble.com/career. And from there, you'll be able to check out the Indeed profile and apply for that job. As far as the integrator goes, I need a second in command. I need somebody to help me run and grow these businesses, because I'm the visionary. I need somebody that's going to pick it up and execute. So if that sounds like you, then also go to that same URL, tylercobble.com/career, and shoot me an email. I don't have a formal job posting for that yet. We'll probably have that here pretty soon. So maybe by the time you're listening to this on the podcast, that will be live. This past week, I also had a board meeting for the Entrepreneurs Organization. I've been on the board there for a couple of years at Junior Achievement of Nashville, and I had never experienced Junior Achievement, but now that is a nonprofit that I want to get very involved in. They teach kids, middle schoolers, about business, about entrepreneurship, and it is amazing just what they've built there. They had inside this space where we were meeting, they essentially had an entire town square built out with all these different businesses and shops and restaurants and post offices and everything to teach these kids about entrepreneurship. And man, I wish I had something like that when I was growing up. And so seems like a lot of fun getting to teach kids that there are opportunities out there that maybe they haven't experienced before in their lives. And can't wait to get involved in that. It seems that I got pretty excited about it. Also, wanted to let you know I'm working on an in-person conference on commercial real estate in Nashville this fall. We haven't settled on a date yet. It's going to be in September or October. So save those 2 months on your calendar. It'll likely be 2 days, 1 day exclusively for the CRE Accelerator students, where they get to come spend the day with me. We'll tour around some of the properties, walk around, do some masterminding and workshops, and then we'll have a day of conference, right? I'll have a bunch of my friends from commercial real estate come in and just teach you how to cash flow different types of commercial real estate. That seems very exciting to me. And there's not really a conference out there like it. So I figured, you know what? Why don't we just start it? Let's start getting people together and talking commercial real estate in Nashville and having a good time. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we'll have some dates settled here pretty soon. And then I also wanted to announce, I know there's a lot of announcements, but so we've got a lot of good stuff going on. That's why I'm hiring. I need a lot of help. Logan Freeman and I, you may have seen, are starting a commercial real estate brokerage mastermind on October 1st, 2024, October 1st of this year. And to lead up to that, we are announcing a program called 12 Weeks to Break into CRE. I have had a lot of residential real estate agents reach out to me asking how they can transition into commercial real estate. And it's tough because you really have to have a base layer of knowledge around commercial real estate before it's easy enough for a commercial real estate brokerage firm to hire you. So that being said, Logan and I have put together a 12-week curriculum with different lessons, podcasts, books, etc., for you to read on a weekly basis. And then he and I will be leading a class every week. I think it's going to be Monday nights at 7 p.m. In order to just teach you further. So at the end of that 12-week period, you should have enough foundational knowledge around commercial real estate to be able to get a job at a commercial real estate brokerage. It is a free class. We are not charging anything for this. All that we are asking is that you commit to attending all 12 classes and you commit to giving us feedback at the end of the 12-week period. Now, we are only opening it up to 20 students. 20 students. It will be on a first come, first served basis. So head on over to tylercobble.com/break, BREAK, and you will be able to fill out the form there and apply. We are starting that on July 1st. So today is June 18th. That's less than 2 weeks away. We will be kicking it off on July 1st. So check that out, tylercobble.com/break. All right, let's get into the comments. Vicken is saying, hey, Tyler. Hey, Vicken, what's going on, man? He's saying, happy Father's Day. How was your Father's Day? It was great. Had a great time. We went out and celebrated my grandfather at their house. We cooked out, had some brunch, so it was wonderful. I also got a massage, which was pretty nice. I really needed that. I haven't gotten a massage in like over a year, and it was very necessary. CRA Group is saying, good morning from Nodak. Yes, quick tip is great. Awesome. Appreciate that, CRA Group. Hope everything is well in Nodak. And we'll keep the quick tip coming. Why not? I've got plenty of little ideas that, they're like 2-minute lessons. So might as well keep that going. Brittany Spitznagel is saying, hey man, when raising money, how do you figure out the GP percentage of those who raise money? Frank. Oh, Frank, what's going on, man? So, Frank, what we do is we will typically set aside a certain percentage of the general partnership for the capital raise. So let's just say it's 25% of the general partnership is for 100% of the capital raise. So then if you go out and raise 50% of the total capital needed, then you get 50% of that 25%. So 12.5% of the general partnership for the amount of capital that you raised. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any other questions on it. That's how we do it. I know a lot of people do it in different ways. That's what I've found to be the most fair and the most enticing for a lot of people. You can't, let me say this too. You can't just raise capital in a syndication. You have to have some sort of ongoing role. So, if that's investor relations, if there's some sort of accounting or, I don't know, offering that you can make when it comes to the deal, you do want to have some sort of an active role for that person that's raising capital that isn't just raising the capital. If you do get audited by the SEC, that will be something that they are checking. So something to keep in mind. Hope that helps. Captain Kurt is saying, sweet, I'll be there at the conference. Yeah, you will, Kurt. Looking forward to seeing you again, man. It's been too long. We got to get you down to Nashville, dude. Got to come down here and hang out with me for the day. William is saying, would you recommend taking CCIM 101 class over the summer as a rising college senior with a major in finance if desiring an analyst position, or is there a downside to starting this early? William, great question, man. I wish I had the foresight that you do when I was in college, although to be fair, I was only there for 12 months would be a stretch. 100%. I would say taking CCIM would be a phenomenal idea. CCIM 101, because look here, the only downside, it's expensive, right? I mean, it's $1,500 to $1,800, I think, plus travel and room and board, which really at the end of the day isn't that expensive. I know that's just, it's a decent amount of money for people, but it is very inexpensive for what you were actually getting out of the class. I'll say it that way. The value is there. I think that it certainly helps. When you're trying to break into commercial real estate, it is important that you do everything that you can to lay the proper foundation for your knowledge, because that's the hardest part that firms have with hiring new people is the learning curve and the training that comes with somebody new to the commercial real estate industry. It can be tough. I mean, that's why everybody says, when you become a commercial real estate broker, it takes 3 to 5 years before you start really seeing any money. And that was true for me, right? My first and second year, I made like $40,000 each, which, $40,000 salary, not bad. $40,000 in commission, that's like, that might as well be a $10,000 salary, right? Like you are stressed out all the time. Fortunately, I was able to work on weekends in construction and wait tables, and I got by. My third year, 120,000, and it's been going up ever since. But it's because you have to, one, build the right relationships, but two, you have to prove that you know what you're doing and what you're talking about. Not necessarily just to other people, also to yourself, right? In order for you to recognize what a good deal is, you have to fully understand and have that experience. So I certainly think that you cannot get started too early when it comes to your education in commercial real estate. So 100%. I support CCIM. I love what they're doing. Will Coleman, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, Will. Saying, what's up, Tyler? When you are looking at retail strip malls and you see a space that is 12,000 square feet, how difficult is that to lease, or would you recommend dividing that up? Will, that is a great question. So to me, it depends on the market that you are in and the condition of the space. So if you are in a lower traffic area or an area that has a lower population or lower population growth, I would see 12,000 square feet as a potential risk. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to just divide it up today and go about that process. What I would say is in your marketing, say, hey, it's 12,000 square feet total, but we're willing to divide it up in suites as small as 2,000 square feet and market both ways, because you might get a tenant that comes along that says, hey, I want the full 12,000 feet. Great. You might have 6 tenants come along that say, hey, we want 2,000 square feet. And you want to kind of keep that open for each tenant. So as you're dividing that space up, just make sure that you're being conscientious about how you're doing it. and try and keep a big chunk together, right? So if somebody wants 2,000 square feet, don't let them take 2,000 right in the middle of the space. Put them with a neighbor. That way you have 2,000 square feet over here and then 10,000 square feet contiguous, because somebody still may come along and say, hey, I want 10,000 square feet. So that doesn't necessarily scare me. There are plenty of big box tenants that are actually still running around. I was talking to one yesterday that was calling about a shopping center that I own where we've got 20,000 square feet available. So they are out there. And don't let the headlines saying that, hey, no, nobody's taking space like that anymore, really scare you, because I'm talking to them all the time. So it's certainly a possibility for you to find somebody that's that big. I would just consider adding to your marketing, hey, we're willing to itemize it up. Here's what that would look like too. Cole is saying, if you were graduating college and your end goal was to start your own commercial real estate investment firm, what path would you take? Great question, Cole. So I didn't start my brokerage until 5 years into the business. And I'll be honest with you, I was the youngest at the time in Nashville. I probably still was the youngest commercial real estate broker in Nashville to start my own firm. And I think I was 25 or 26 at the time. I would highly recommend, if you want to start your own investment firm, going and working for either just go work for another brokerage for 5, 6, 7, 8 years and get the knowledge that you need to be an awesome commercial real estate broker, and then go out on your own. There's a bunch of different things that a lot of commercial real estate brokers don't necessarily take into account when they go to start their own commercial real estate brokerage. And that's that it is a business, right? Now you are having to pay rent for a space. And now you are having to pay for all of the softwares and all of the services and all of that kind of stuff. For me, it was 100% worth the decision. I can't work for somebody else. I could, but they would have to be a grade A+ manager. And that is the exact opposite of what I had. I had a terrible boss. So I was destined to not be there for very long. So those are a few things to keep in mind. I actually had a call with a friend earlier this week who was looking at starting her own brokerage. And I ran through everything with her and told her, hey, by the way, here's all the stuff that you're going to have to deal with. She decided she might not actually be opening up her own brokerage now, because you start getting distracted from the investment sales, and now you have to focus on running a business. Those are two very different things. Those skill sets do not necessarily translate. So something to keep in mind. But I would say, look, if you're wanting to, start your own firm, there you go. Let's see. Will's saying it's in Clarksville, high traffic area. Yeah, Will, I wouldn't feel too bad about that 12,000 square feet. Happy to take a look at it with you, man, and dive into that. And see what we could do, and I'll give you my real thoughts on it. But to me, that seems like a pretty decent space to get leased. Vicken is saying, Tyler, how do residents not pay mortgage? Vicken, I'm not too sure if you're like, are you talking about like on a house? How do you not pay your mortgage? I mean, I would go about doing house hack, and really just buying something as cheaply as possible. Finding some roommates or buying a duplex and renting out the other side, and having the tenants that are renting from me really pay the mortgage. That's a great way to get started. When you're first getting into commercial real estate or real estate in general, anything you can do to just cut your expenses is a win, right? So even if you buy a piece of real estate and your mortgage is $2,000 a month, but you have tenants paying you $2,000 a month, that's a win, right? Because now you're not having to pay $2,000 a month towards your mortgage. That's $2,000 a month that you can save to go buy more property. So I highly recommend that. I mean, look, there's basically two ways to get cash. That's either cutting your expenses or keeping your expenses low, or earning more money. For me, I've always kept my expenses low, no matter how much more money I earn. Just because every dollar that I save is another dollar I can put into commercial real estate. And I know what my end goal is. I want to have so much money passive in income every month that I can go do whatever I want. And I'm willing to sacrifice that today in order to get that in 5 or 10 years. So I would just figure out kind of what your goal is and work your way back from there. Evan is saying, closing on my first commercial land deal to build flex space this August. Congrats, Evan. That's really exciting, man. Is there specific businesses or tenants you would recommend not renting to? Oh, that's a good question. Not renting to. So there's no like hard line of I would never rent to this person. It all comes down to, I mean, it's always on a case by case basis. I think I would be careful of any businesses that could be potentially environmentally unfriendly, right? And I don't necessarily mean that in like a green way. I just mean it in like you don't want somebody that's going to be storing a bunch of chemicals that doesn't care about the space and might start pouring it down your stormwater drains. That to me is a nightmare. And it could cause environmental issues for you and for them. And then, would they be liable for it? Sure. But then now you're going to have to sue them and make them pay for it. And good luck. I try and avoid conflict whenever I can. It's just not worth it at the end of the day. Auto body shops are always tough. They always have so many cars that are just sitting everywhere. and that's good, right? I know they're doing business, so they're going to be able to pay me rent. It's just something that I don't particularly like unless they're going to be storing all of those vehicles inside. I always make sure, talking about vehicles, make sure that the number of employees that they will be having park on site is actually true. We've had tenants try to get by saying, hey, we only have 3 or 5 employees, and then somehow they're showing up with 8 to 10 vehicles every day. And then you have to start enforcing parking rules. And, then they get upset because they thought it was open parking, but at the same time, you can't have somebody that's, Marcus Cottrell. Marcus, what's going on, man? He's saying, be cautious of auto mechanics. They will junk up your place. Exactly. And Marcus owns some flex space down in Alabama. So it's really on a case by case basis. One thing that I like to look into is what's their credit, right? Do a background check. That's the biggest thing. You don't necessarily have to have 6 figures of cash in the bank for me to say, hey, this is a tenant worth working with. They might not have very much cash, but if they show me that they can pay their rent every month, they're not going to cost me a lot, they're going to be good tenants, they're not going to tear up my space, they're going to take care of it, I'm willing to work with them, especially when it comes to, flex space, because that's just kind of what it takes when it comes to that type of property. Oh, man. Well, while we're waiting on some more questions to come in, I'll give you guys some updates on what I got going on for the rest of the week. So we've got standing meetings at Salt Ranch. I'm very excited to have that deal back underway in full swing. We're going to be walking through with the electricians today, actually as soon as I leave here. Because we are going to fully update the electrical in that property. We had a walkthrough with our contractor last week, talking about some changes we were making. We were originally going to have barn doors on the bathrooms in the hotel, and I wasn't ever really thrilled about that. I don't like barn doors in bathrooms, but spatially, it was the only thing that would work with our design. And we ended up deciding, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw some termite damage that I was showing off last week. We ended up deciding to just rip all the walls out and build them back. And so now we're doing pocket doors instead. So much better. You can hide the door. It doesn't take up any more space. It's pretty great. So can't wait to get that deal done and have it open here in Nashville. We're going to have a grand opening party. You guys are all going to have to come to Nashville. It'll be spring of 25. We'll have a grand opening party. It'll be a lot of fun. Chris is saying, for getting started wholesaling commercial real estate coming from residential, what's your advice? Are you making it clear it's an assignment, especially for deals on terms? So, Chris, here's what I say about wholesaling commercial real estate. Can it be done? Absolutely. It certainly can be. Is it infinitely more difficult than residential? For sure. It absolutely is. Here's the tough part about commercial wholesaling compared to residential. On the residential side, people are accustomed to closing in 14 days, right? 2 to 4 weeks. That's pretty on par. Sometimes people are closing even faster than that if they're able to get things figured out. Commercial doesn't work that way. Nobody is paying that much in cash to close in 2 to 4 weeks. And it's often very difficult to get a property under contract for long enough to justify working it as a wholesale. And the thing is, you're probably going to have to take on a little more risk than you're used to on the residential side. So if you put a property under contract, you're probably going to have to go ahead and pull the trigger on a survey and a phase 1 environmental report. That'll cost you probably 10 grand. So not a lot, but it's worth doing, because any buyer coming in is going to have to do that. They're going to have the time to do that. And it is going to take 3 to 4 weeks, probably just for those 2 reports alone. Then you've got to think too, if somebody's using a lender, which most people in commercial real estate are, some people are paying cash. I would say probably fewer than 10% of our clients at the brokerage are paying all cash. So that means 90% of people out there are using a loan. And that means that it's going to take 45 to 60 days sometimes for the bank to get all the approvals that they need in order to finance it. So you start adding that up and the timeline is a lot longer. So can it be done? For sure. Can the numbers be a lot bigger than residential? Absolutely. I've seen 6-figure. I've actually seen 1 7-figure wholesale fee before on commercial property, because it can be justified. If you find a good enough deal, it can be justified. But those are a few things to keep in mind. I do have a video on wholesaling commercial real estate. Hope that helps. Caesar's saying, good morning, Tyler. If I have plenty of equity built up on a property, what's the best way to bring capital for an IOS, so industrial outdoor storage, HELOC, or an equity loan? It's a good question, Caesar. Man, it all comes down to what your interest rates are, right? I mean, that's really it at the end of the day is what is going to give you a better interest rate, because as soon as you start drawing down on either of those, you're going to have to start paying interest. So you're going to want to make sure that you are, 1, able to cover that, and 2, hopefully getting it covered by the cash flow from the new asset as quickly as possible. That's what I'll be looking into. I think either of those options are fine. I think raising capital from an investor is probably better. Is equity more expensive in the long run? Yes, it usually is. However, they're in for the ride, which means you're not going to have to start immediately making monthly interest payments as soon as you start drawing down on that capital. They'll take a bigger chunk of the upside, but they're also going to take a little bit more of the risk with you. So it's worth it. Dylan Patel is saying, hey, Tyler, looking to break into commercial real estate development after a few years as a commercial agent. Awesome, Dylan. Glad to hear it, man. I love development. It's a lot of fun. Best advice I can give you is go find a developer, partner with them on a couple of deals, learn the ropes, and then go off on your own. I see too many people make the mistake of getting confident saying, oh, well, all I have to do is hire a general contractor and they'll kind of build it for me. And that's a very bad, very, very bad mistake to make in commercial real estate. John is saying, good morning. What is your advice on getting space, flex or small warehouses leased out? Hire a broker, etc. 100%. I mean, hire a broker that specializes in flex space in your area. Hire the broker that has the space listed next door, right? I know a lot of people think that that's kind of weird, but let's be honest. If somebody's calling on the space next door, they're probably a pretty good prospect for your space too. And that space next door may not have the space to accommodate that tenant, whereas you might. So there's a lead right there, right? The brokers that are focused on that market are the ones that are bringing all the business in. So one, I would do that. 2, make sure, Chris is saying, thanks for the advice, brother. Absolutely, Chris. Happy to do it, man. If make sure that your marketing is just on point. Too many people don't have good marketing when it comes to their deals. Like, don't take pictures, from a potato. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, iPhones have such good quality cameras now. Like, just take high quality photos. Make sure that you're framing the shot, and make sure the lighting is good. Go get Lightroom. It's like $8 a month. It's an Adobe product. Edit the photos, make them look nice, and make sure that you're just telling the full story of what's going on. I mean, I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. He owns a self-storage facility. He was talking to the guy down the street who's trying to sell his self-storage facility, and he was like, I'm getting no calls on it. And they were talking. It's like, well, the guy has one terrible old-looking picture of the property. So people looking at it online cannot tell what the hell is going on there. It just makes it tough, right? So hire a broker. Make sure that your marketing is on point. Marcus is saying we hired a broker. Yeah, he hired a broker for his flex space. Best decision. They do everything for you. I mean, if you wanted to do the work yourself, go post it on LoopNet, post it on Crexy, post it on Craigslist. Get a giant sign in the front yard, put signs in all the windows, post on Facebook groups, send out mailers, cold call, door knock, whatever. But to be honest with you, a commercial real estate broker is going to do every single one of those things for you, and you're not going to have to pay them until they finalize a deal for you and you have cash in the bank. So always worth hiring a broker. That is all the time we have for this week's Office Hours. Join me next Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll take it from there. Are you looking to take the next step toward investing in commercial real estate but don't know where to go? CRE Central offers a comprehensive education and coaching platform designed to help you get started. Our online courses cover a wide range of topics, from the fundamentals to advanced strategies, ensuring you have the knowledge and skills needed to thrive in this competitive industry. As a member, you'll gain access to our exclusive online community and monthly group coaching calls, providing you with valuable networking opportunities and personalized guidance from experienced professionals. Whether you're a beginner or looking to take your career to the next level, CRE Central has the resources you need. Visit www.crecentral.com to learn more.